Sahana vavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu mavid vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Guru Stotram. Akhanda mandalakaram vyaptam yena characharam tatpadam darsitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshu militam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Gurureva Param Brahma tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Stavaram jangamam yaptam yatkinchis sacharacharam tatpadam darsitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Chinmayam vyapiyat sarvam trailokyam sacharacharam tatpadam darsitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva, eva vidya dravidam tvameva, tvameva sarvam amadeva deva, tvameva sarvam gurudeva deva. We discussed yesterday some of the steps involved during the meditation so that the mind is readily available for contemplation on the truth expounded by Vedanta. As Gurudev used to say, meditation is not an action, is not a verb, but a noun where one should find oneself in meditation as one concentrates, shifting the attention of the mind from names and forms, nama rupa, and kriya, the functions of the utilities of any object, to that very substratum or the very essence because of which the very existence of an object or the beings in the form of nama rupa. In order to do this shift in the attention of the mind to the underlying truth, we need to withdraw the mind or renounce our attachments or the mental attachments or emotional attachments to the Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa is names and forms. So one cannot sit in the seat of meditation and expect the mind to contemplate on the truth unless one withdraws deliberately from day-to-day operations involving attachments and likes and dislikes or raga dveshas. Tyage naike amrutatva manasuhu. Only by renunciation one can reach the eternity that I am longing for. That which we are asking the Lord in terms of asatoma, sadgamaya, tamasoma, jyotirgamaya, mrutyurma, amrutamgamaya, where we understand now that it is requesting a knowledge that we are indeed eternal, not ephemeral, that involves names and forms. So to shift that, or to shift the mind to our true nature, Scripture is advising Atmaityo-upasita, meditate on your own self. Self, that is not the one that identifies as I am this, where identification with not self, this, is involved. So Atma eva upasita, meditate on the self, involves dropping this in the very ego that defines I am this. There is no other meditation other than dropping things, discarding identifications with any this. It's easier to drop identifications with external things this is my car, but I know I am not the car. So all this that I can identify with external things beyond my body, it is somewhat easier to drop that identification. But identification, even with those, if it involves emotional attachments, like this is mine or he is mine, particularly with the beings where you have investment in terms of emotions, it's very difficult indeed to drop those emotional attachments. So whole Gita-upadesha starts because of this. Because this is the biggest human problem. Therefore, I cannot expect myself in meditation unless I develop an attitude in life where I should look beyond the names and forms while I am transacting in the world. So sitting half an hour in the meditation does not help unless I live a life of renunciate. It's not the changing of clothes or changing of the ashram, it is dropping our attachments, our emotional attachments to the things and beings. I can be wearing a orange robe or kashaya vastram, but still I can be attached even to my langoti also. So what is renunciation? Tyage naike amrutatva manasuhu requires dropping my emotional attachments to the things and beings. Attachment is different from being concerned. I should be concerned in terms of what needs to be done in order to solve a problem. But attachment will drain the mind and its energies and making me inefficient. So remember, when we want to sit in the seat of meditation or when we want to be in the meditative mood, whether we sit in one place or not, depends upon the degree to which we can dissociate emotional attachments with I am this and this is mine, called ahankara and mamakara. I cannot completely drop my identification with I am this, because still I am localized entity with the body, mind and intellect. So I use the same body, mind and intellect, and to the degree possible drop all unnecessary attachments, leaving that whatever is required for the survival. Yesterday we went through different steps involved in the sitting of meditation and bringing the mind, and one has to go through this process so that the mind is available for contemplation. Contemplation is an action, but meditation is not an action. By contemplating is shifting the mind from names and forms to that truth that is underlying the names and forms. And scriptures teach us that it is your own self that is the substratum for the whole universe too. Now, how am I going to see that in the seat of meditation until I get used to that and I can see that all the time, even when I'm sitting, even when I'm not sitting for meditation. For that, we need to practice what's called witnessing consciousness, where I can stand apart and look at how my mind becomes aware of things and beings are all namarupas. I need the name and form, yet I want to shift my attention from the name and form to that because of which I am conscious of the name and form. Just as I want the moon in the sky, but I want to concentrate looking at the moon, not the moon, but that because of which the moon is visible. Same way, sitting in the seat of meditation, either I can chant the name of the Lord or any particular thought or Omkara itself, providing the mind a thought for me to look at it. Just as we are provided with the moon for us to see the sunlight there. Attachment to the moon will make us to forget the sunlight, although we are seeing the moon in the presence of the sunlight. Without the sunlight, we won't be able to see the moon. In the same way, in the meditation involves any thought, and in the beginning it's better to have same thought repeating and concentrate not on the contents of the thought but the consciousness because of which I am conscious of the thought, as well as the silence between the thoughts. I am neither the thought nor the silence, but I am that awareness because of which I am aware of the thought or the silence. I need to practice this with any thought or with any sequence of thoughts or even without no thought, where I constantly shift my attention from the contents of the thought to that because of which I am aware of the thoughts. It is difficult to do during transactions in the world because I need to pay attention to the contents of the thought at that time. So initially it's better to do it calmly, quietly, minimizing the number of thoughts so that I can stand apart and look at the thoughts. So the recommendation is chant the name of the Lord or have listened to the music of on the Lord of your Ishtadevata, where the mind focuses on the glories of the Lord, or on the chantings like Nirvana Shatakam or Brahmanandavalli. Those remind us what we are compared to what we think we are. These are the tools required for us to shift our attention from Nama Rupa Kriya, the names, forms and utilities, to that because of which all Nama Rupa Kriyas are possible, existing and functioning. As you are listening to this talk, try to practice now without paying attention to too much to the contents of the thought, to see if you are able to look at the consciousness because of which you are having the knowledge of the thought. You can provide instead a discourse, but a thought where you don't need to pay attention to the contents, but only shift to the consciousness that illuminating the thought. Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Thought is raising, I am recognizing the thought, but instead of shifting the attention to the contents of the thought, I want to see how this knowledge is taking place, how I am aware of the thought, and also silence between the thoughts. Om Namo Narayanaya. 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 You can initiate your own thought that appeals to your heart, but without getting lost in the thoughts. I am that witnessing consciousness, because of which I am conscious of all the thoughts, absence of thoughts, all the activities, whether I sit in the seat of meditation or whether I am transacting in the world. A constant shift of attention that I am consciousness all the time is called Akhandakara Vritti, one who is always in seat of meditation, in spite of whatever the activities at the body, mind level are going on. I remain as actionless in spite of actions, because I am just witnessing all the actions too. For that only, extreme detachment is necessary. And one way to do it is through Karma Yoga and Upasana Yoga. We'll take a deep breath and slowly open your eyes.